Welcome back to Unfiltered. We're getting more and more data by the day showing the possible dangers of COVID vaccine shots and the boosters. Many of the warning signs, ironically, coming from places like the CDC and FDA. I mean, kind of late, right? Joining me now is a doctor who's been sounding the alarm for a while now, professor of medicine at Stanford, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Dr. Bhattacharya, thanks a lot for your time. You know, the warning signs about the vaccine and the booster shots are now coming from some of the same medical institutions that were pushing them and suppressing what they called misinformation about it. Are you as concerned about this as I am?
I mean, I think the thing that mainly concerns me is that the CDC pushed the vaccines beyond what they actually can do. I kind of take a middle position on this, Dan. I think that the vaccines for older people actually were on net a good thing. They reduced the risk of mortality from COVID in a group that really needed that risk reduced. At the same time, they pushed them on younger populations where the risk-benefit ratios were much closer to even or worse. For kids, I just don't see a huge benefit at all from the vaccines. And we've seen now, as you said, Dan, from the CDC and elsewhere, places people are now admitting that the vaccines can cause myocarditis, especially in young men at high rates. There was just a study released by the FDA on pulmonary embolism. Risk is elevated some. There's menstrual irregularities, a whole bunch of side effects that people were saying were conspiracy theories, where now they're documented. And of course, there's the big lie, which is that the vaccine stops disease transmission, or that it stops you from getting the disease. I mean, I was vaccinated and I got the disease. I mean, I got it twice.
So did I.
That's the thing. And and I think a lot of people have seen that same thing. So when you have a public health authority essentially overstate the case for the vaccines, and then this is even worse, gaslight people who have actually had vaccine injuries and make them feel like they're going crazy, and while they're suffering through some health condition caused by the vaccine. I think it undermines trust in public health. Imagine a world where there was no vaccine mandate, no vaccine pressure. Just they told you, go see your doctor. If the doctor says you need it, then you should get it. I think then what would happen is a lot of older people would have got the vaccine. We'd have prevented a lot of severe disease and death, and we would still have confidence in public health.
There are two data points that concern me, though, and I defer to your medical experience. You've been a truth teller from the start and a brave one at that. There are two data points that popped out to me this week. One of them was that it may produce substandard antibodies getting the vaccine, which does almost nothing to stop you from getting COVID and may produce a substandard immune response. And second, there's some data out there indicating, I believe a New South Wales data set, showing that the majority of people who were hospitalized were the vaccinated ones, not the unvaccinated ones. So I heard you mention about older folks. Does that concern you even for older people as well?
Yeah, so look, the first one is I've seen those studies. There's a couple of studies suggest that the kind of immune response you get in response to getting infected with COVID, if you've been vaccinated multiple times and had the boosters, is a vaccine response that doesn't particularly well respond to COVID. Those, I think, are still small scale studies. I mean, those are worth looking at, but I wouldn't raise an alarm over them yet, just simply because I want to see if it actually happens at scale. The epidemiological data I've seen, places like Qatar, Sweden, Denmark have done careful epidemiological studies where they track people over time. And they compare, from the early in 2021, they compared the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated. There you really do see a reduction in mortality risk for older people who'd had the vaccine. So, and that's the main thing I look at. Like population data, like you mentioned, Dan, the problem with that is sometimes it may be that older people were more likely to get the vaccine, and so therefore they're also more likely to be hospitalized. Simply because it's something called there just happen to be more of them, not because the vaccine makes it more likely that you'd be hospitalized. In fact, I think it's the opposite.
Right, I understand that. You're suggesting there may be confounding variables in the data set, but just I got to run, Doc. But maybe longitudinally over time, as the data becomes more clear and we get more the effect of chronological time, we may get a more clearer picture. Correct?
Absolutely. We need to keep studying it. This vaccine is only a couple of years old. The idea that we mandated at scale, we're still learning about it, I think was a big mistake.
Yeah. Dr. Bhattacharya, thanks a lot for your time. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Dan.